Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me, hope you can see me, and welcome to today's Admirals webinar, where we're going to be focusing on trading psychology, and in particular, what could you do to make 2022 your best trading year ever. Great to have you here joining us. Okay, if you're joining us here live, fantastic to see you here. If you're joining us later, you're watching this on demand on the Admirals YouTube channel. Yeah, you're very welcome. Just be sure to basically subscribe, okay, to the Admirals channel, and give us feedback, even a thumbs up or even a thumbs down. If that hasn't helped you, okay, we appreciate all feedback. And maybe you've got some comments, or maybe you even got thoughts about what you'd like to see us touch on in sessions coming forward in 2022, we appreciate all of that. We want to make these sessions as beneficial and as valuable as possible as we can to them. But today, as I said, we are going to be talking about trading psychology and what can you do to make 2022 your best year ever. I think I can probably speak for us all when saying that, we thought after 2020 was kind of weird when things would get back to normal, but that clearly hasn't really happened. It's been a rather interesting year in many levels, not just in markets, but across the globe in many ways. And of course, we can take that information, all right, the last year and the year before, and start to utilize that to help us, just make good plans to help us make next year as best as possible for ourselves as traders. So if you bear with us, okay, I'll just bring up the slides and we can talk about a bit of trading psychology. So just bear with me here a second. Hopefully this will all come up here. There we go. Okay, there we go. So as I said, I hope you can hear me. Hope you can see me. Let's just move this a little bit out of the way here. Yeah, as I said, we're going to talk about making 2022 your best ever trading year. So as always, I appreciate that we have a wide range of people who join us for our sessions, both in terms of their trading experience, from complete beginners to advanced intermediate traders. You're all very, very welcome. It would be great to hear how 2021 has been for yourself. All right, what has actually been good for you, and what's one thing, even just one thing that you have you've learned has been your kind of like major learning point from this year that you could utilize taking forward into next year. And as always, I say, we also have we have a broad range of locations where people are joining us from for our Admirals English sessions. You are all very, very welcome here, okay? And I appreciate that, you might have, let's say, nuances in terms of your trading styles based upon where you are, but you're all very welcome here, okay? And you're all very welcome to sort of share your own feedback on how your year has been, okay, in 2021 terms, and what would you like to achieve in 2022? If there was even just one simple thing you could sort of just get yourself focused on, what would it be? All right, I think this is definitely an opportunity for us to talk about that, and we always sort of appreciate any of the kind of any of the feedback or any thoughts you have. As I said, I'm just quickly looking through the attendees list, and we've got a great list of people from all over the world, and it's fabulous. You're very welcome to be here with us, ladies and gentlemen. So here we are, Admirals, all right, a Forex and CFD broker, okay, that has a global presence with local support, licensed and regulated across a wide range of regulatory environments, providing competitive spreads on the most popular trading products, and allowing the opportunity to engage with markets using both their MT4 and MT5 platforms. If you have any questions about Admirals, please get in touch with your account representative and they'll be very happy to help you. Also, if you want to get a little bit more up-to-date information on both markets and actually what's going on with Admirals, then by all means, you can follow us on our Telegram channel. I think my wonderful assistant, Nastia, will place up there in the chat box a link to take us to our Telegram, okay, feed, which is at Admirals, not unsurprisingly. But there you go, you're able to join that, and what we do is we provide a little bit more up to date, okay, a little bit more time sensitive inside information. And as I said, my wonderful assistant there has just pinged that in the chat box, so by all means be sure to give that a click and a follow. So what are we going to talk about for our agenda today? Well, part of it is like, where do we start? All right, and looking to make our next year our best one. Where do we start? Okay, I appreciate that this is quite a it's quite a useful time of the year. All right, we're talking here kind of mid-December, gives us a couple of weeks to sort of wrap up the calendar year 2021, but also a bit of time to sort of effectively look at starting to plan and look at what we need to do going forward into the next year. What can we do to help ensure that we start on the right foot in 2022? Okay, you want to start out, don't you? You want to start on the right foot. Okay, you want to set your intentions. Okay, for next year, how you want to actually do that. And how can we create a trading plan that supports us in our endeavors? As I said, it's going to be quite it's going to be about trading psychology, about managing yourself, managing your trading business, and as I said, very happy to hear your own comments, your own thoughts. Maybe it's been a great year for you, maybe it's been a challenging year for you. Okay, maybe it's been a year of education. Okay, maybe it's been a year of achieving your particular goals. It's it's everybody's journey is unique, and it is I great always to hear other people's experiences and what they have kind of learned and been through them themselves. So Gert says probably waiting would be a good thing to take along. Yeah, absolutely. I would. I'm going to interpret that, Gert, and please correct me if I'm wrong. But that part of that is about patience. All right, about being patient enough to sort of to wait for the right opportunity. Okay, and I appreciate as someone who's traded a lot and coached a lot. Okay, it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, you should be patient. Okay, it's very easy to say that, but when you're sat in front of a fast-moving market, that's not always an easy thing to accomplish. What I can say from my own experience, as a trader, and from my own experience coaching, hundreds and thousands of traders over the last 10 years, is that it becomes easier to be patient if you know exactly what you're looking for. If you have a very clear set of rules around your setup, it becomes much easier to be patient because I do nothing unless this particular setup appears. So if you're struggling with patience, if you feel like getting a sense of a fear of missing out, FOMO, you want to get on board, you want to chase things, well then what I can suggest is just sit down, take a sheet of paper, open a new Word document, and just be very, very clear, almost like to a checklist about what your setup is. All right, because the clearer you are, the clarity you get from that, it makes it easier, okay, to be patient. Yes, you'll still be challenged. Yes, you'll still be teased because when markets move, you're looking at it, you might want to get on board. But as I say, when you're very clear about what it is, it's easier to have that conversation with yourself about being patient because it's simply, I do nothing until this setup meets my rules. But thanks for that. Thanks for that, Gert. I appreciate that. And this session's a little bit like this. So as I said, if you've had challenges, if you've had ideas, please, you're very welcome to share them. And I can't promise to answer everything. I can't promise to have all of the answers, but I can lend my experience from years of trading and coaching traders. I've been very fortunate to coach traders from complete beginners through to people running sort of $200 million books at tier 1 banks. Okay, so I've had an opportunity to see it all, and the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, and I'm happy to help share that with you today, ladies and gentlemen. And there you go. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Paul. I've traded for hedge funds and clients in the past. Okay, also coach traders across the whole range. Primarily my own trading focuses on FX indices, commodities. That's what I particularly like. I tend to be a trend trader for longer term trading, and then a sort of reversal trader, mean reversion trader for shorter term intraday trading. So it's a case of, how do we make 2022 our best trading year? So, as the slide says, I think we can all agree that 2021 has been a wild year, again, both in life and the markets. we've all experienced a change to our way of living our lives. I think that's probably fair to say, and we here at Admirals, we hope that wherever you are, okay, in the world, we hope you and your family are well and are safe, and have been able to sort of make the most of this year based upon the kind of rules we're living under at the moment. And we absolutely wish you health and happiness for next year, so that you can be the best trader that you want to be. So, nevertheless, there will be many traders who've made it to the end of 2021 and have generated good returns. Others, not so much, okay? Others have, might have struggled. So the question to you is, have you had a good year or have you had a challenging year, all right? Part of that depends upon how you define what is good and what is challenging, but it is, a question you can ask yourself, and there's no judgment here from ourselves or from me. We are all on that journey. Okay, we're all on that journey towards sort of self-trading mastery. And we're all at different places, and we all take different paths to it. It's a case of we can all learn from each other. Even myself. Okay, even myself. I try to remain open and curious and humble, because you can learn something. It's you should never be sort of closed off in that sense. So as I said, have you had a good year or have you had a challenging year? Regardless of which, how are you going to use this year's experience to help you move forward next year? So in this session, we'll look at some of the ways that we can learn from this year's trading experiences and then channel that into making 2022 our best year ever in terms of trading. So Peter says, I've struggled with FOMO for a long time, but things have improved massively. Now I have a definite set of rules for entry. Bingo, Peter. That's absolutely fantastic. Great feedback there. Okay. And, it's a trader's experience, experience a little bit of FOMO. You sit in front of screens, okay, all day, however long you do, when things are happening, things are moving, you can see, sort of moves occurring that you're not on. And, when it does, it triggers, okay, it triggers that feelings of FOMO, that fear of missing out, all right? And part of it is, if you are undisciplined or if you don't have a complete set of rules, it becomes easier for you just to make knee-jerk, impulsive, reactive decisions. Sometimes you'll get lucky with that, but a lot of the times it is just not the way. It's not the way to trade. So it's great to hear that. There's fantastic feedback there from Peter that things have improved massively. Now I have a definite set of rules for entry, and it is and those of you who've joined me for my sessions over the years, I talk an awful lot about that. Just getting very clear, a few simple, almost like checklist rules. Just keep it nice and simple, but as I said, it makes it easier for you to be patient. When you know exactly what you're looking for, because anything else is just market noise. Okay, that's the way to do it. And Gert said, that's the same for him the first few months. That's great, fabulous. So let's start somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. So, what do you believe would be a trader's biggest challenge? Maybe you've got some ideas on that. Maybe you've got some thoughts. Maybe you're completely, oblivious to that. All right, that's as I said, that's absolutely fine. There's no, there's no judgment. There's no, there's not here at the front of the class to sort of, chastise anybody. It's all part of the learning journey. What I'd be suggesting is that, for many traders or many, private retail traders, is that one of their traders' biggest challenges is that, they can't see the wood for the trees. Right, that's I appreciate that. It's quite an English saying. Okay, can't see the wood for the trees, but hopefully that you can sort of have your own local sort of a translation of that. And it's really a case of the traders, their focus goes on very often on the wrong things. Okay, they're focusing on finding the perfect setup. They're focused on finding the perfect trend. Okay, the perfect move, all right, the perfect instrument, the perfect time scale. Okay, and all of those things have their role. All right, all of them have their part to play in terms of you building a good, solid, well-rounded trading method, trading approach. But very often, as I said, the trader's biggest challenge is they can't see the wood for the trees. All right, because as Gertz and Peter said, people, they get triggered with FOMO and they just literally start chasing moves. Okay, rather than actually having a simple, concise plan that they can utilize to help them be the best trader they possibly can be. Peter said biggest challenge has been getting the right mindset, and that's that's fabulous, Peter. Appreciate the feedback. Appreciate your honesty there and being genuine. I think I could speak for most people here in this room that actually people very often underestimate the sort of kind of trading psychology. Okay, the element of getting yourself into the right headspace. Okay. And I'm a great believer that actually should be occurring before you've even switched your screens on, before you've even switched the computer on. There's work for you to do every morning in terms of just putting yourself into the right space so that you give yourself the best opportunity, the best chance to trade at your best, to trade at your best level, to come from the best space possible. And it is, it's not something that is a, sort of boxed off thing that you just work on once and change it. It is something that however long you trade for, and I hope you have a very long successful trading careers, is that it's something you will always have to work and always have to keep on top on. It's not something you can get complacent about. All right, it's something you always have to sort of just be working away, just managing and being being careful with. But thank you for that, Peter. So what I see is in terms of some of the challenges that traders do have is that I when I speak to traders all the time is that they'll have had such challenges as the missing moves, that FOMO, which we've already talked about. Okay, missing moves, which can lead to over trading. Okay, over trading in terms of just either chasing moves, just trading off their plan. All right, or might be over trading in terms of oversizing their position, which leads into elements of poor risk management. Those of you who have joined me and my colleagues, Marcus and Jens, will know that we're always talking very, very strongly about you've got to manage risk first. Okay, that's the key element. What you might have found yourself doing is you cutting winning trades too quickly. People like if you've had a couple of challenging days on the trading in the markets and you start to get a couple of winning trades, there's a natural inclination that a lot of people will want to basically to bank that profit. They will say to themselves, but Paul, you can't go bankrupt, taking a profit. Actually, you can. All right, actually you can. And a lot of it depends upon your risk to reward ratios. Okay, your hit rate, the expectancy, but people they'll cut winning trades too quickly and then find it go on and on and on. And on the flip side, there will quite often new traders will let losing trades run too long. Okay, they don't have a trade plan. Okay, they don't have a stop loss. They don't have any risk management. They don't know where on the chart or how they make a decision where their idea is no longer valid. And all of these things, they are the kind of challenges that I see with trading. And to be honest, I probably could have added another 20. And I'm sure those of you here today joining us, you might actually have additional challenges that, that you might want to comment on or you've experienced. These are just some of the major ones that I see constantly being repeated. Okay, day after day, year after year for some people. All right. It's probably being a bit simplistic on my part. But, I do talk about this is a trading business. You are either an amateur with a hobby or a professional with a business. Part of being a professional with a business is, you run it like a good business. Namely, you want to be increasing your revenues, you want to be increasing your profit margins, and you want to be reducing your costs. Okay, you want to be reducing your expenses, reducing your mistakes. That's how you run a good business, and really, in many ways, trading is no different than that. Okay, trading is no different than that. So all of these things are elements you want to be working on in an effort to to improve your trading business. Which kind of leads onto the kind of this slide here: evolution versus revolution. So I'll share my experience as a coach to traders is that very often, I will get a contact or a call from a trader, and it's normally because they've had a bit of a challenging period. Maybe they've just been very wrong. Maybe it's been, kind of, as they say, death by 1,000 cuts. But whatever it is, they're not in the right space. And very often what I see is, when traders contact me, what they're talking about is they come wanting revolution. Okay, they want to scrap everything. They want to throw, as we say here in England, they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, they just want to completely clear the decks. Absolutely, just forget everything. start afresh. And there are times and occasions where that is actually perhaps the best way. But actually more often than not when I'm talking to traders, what it is that, they are ready, or they are needing, or they require their next evolution to their next level as a trader. And I've talked about this, quite a lot over this last year or so. We are all, as traders, we are all evolving to our next level as a trader, including myself. It never ends. Okay. And, it never ends. You never get to sit on a throne at the end of the day saying, I've made it. That's not the way trading works, ladies and gentlemen. You're always working to be the best version of yourself, to be the best trader. And it is about evolving. Okay. It's about evolution rather than revolution. So, if you've had a challenging year and you're thinking, you know what, Paul, I've just had enough. I just want to, scrap everything. I want to start afresh. I want to start again. Just, forget it all. My suggestion would be that just hold your horses there for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Just take a breather. Okay. Just take a breather. Even if you have had the most challenging year, there will still be elements within how you've operated that are worthy of reflection. They're worthy of debriefing. They're worthy of seeing, whether they are the kind of, let's say, the bricks upon which you build your next evolution. Okay, they are the foundation from which you can build your next evolution. So, as I said, if you've had a challenging year, don't, and you might want to just, as I say, throw the baby out with the bathwater, scrap it all and start again. Just take a breather. All right. Just take a little bit of a moment. Okay. What's gone in the past has gone in the past. Okay. It's happened. Okay. It's done. But you can still get value from it by actually being able to debrief it, review it, take out the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. So that you can actually know where you're coming from. As I said, very often it's more about evolution rather than revolution. So, as I said, many traders will have had a wonderful 2021, others not so much. Okay. However, the year has been great. Okay. The great traders will take time to review their losses of 2021. We've all had losses. You will all have losing trades. I've had plenty of this year. That is just part of trading. Okay. Sometimes people think that when you become, a good trader, that means you never have any losses. I can assure you that is not what happens. All right. What it is, though, is that great traders will actually sort of take the time to review that loss to see what could they have learned from it. What was, where was the decision, making process? Did they follow their plan? Did they manage risk? Okay. All of these elements can look at, because actually what that happens is, as the slide says, they'll use that to power them to greater heights in their trading in 2022. And that's definitely the message that I would like to get across to yourselves, okay, as traders, how you can actually look at doing that. So let's start to have a little look at how we can do that ourselves. So, take a bit of time, okay, as I said, we're in the middle of December, we've got a couple of weeks till the end of the year. You can take a little bit of time to review your trading from 2021. Some people will not want to, because maybe it's not been a great year, and they, as I said, they think they want revolution, they want to ignore it, they don't want to look at it. My suggestion is do the opposite. Embrace it. If it has been a challenging year, embrace it. All right, embrace the pain, the frustration, maybe the anger. All right, embrace it. Okay, take the time, sit with it, work through it, look at it. Okay, look at what has happened. Look, be honest with yourself where you've made decisions, where you could have made better choices. All of this is a fantastic reflective process that will basically help you start to make better choices going forward. And when you make better choices, you tend to get better outcomes. So the American Colossus, I would sort of describe Benjamin Franklin. It's a very, very simple quote there: by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. And he's absolutely spot on, okay? And I can talk about that in, not only my trading life, but just my personal life. Failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail, okay? And as I said, this is a great time, all right, to effectively to prepare for next year. Take a couple of weeks, okay? You might have a little bit of downtime, all right? You might, you might be, if you're here in the sort of in England, or if you're in West, okay, you have a little bit of time off over the Christmas period, and you might have, you might be a little bit bored. You've had your in-laws come to stay, okay? All the family have come. You need a couple of hours just to to yourself, this is a fantastic excuse. Okay, you can sit, go and lock yourself away for a couple of hours and just literally go through your trading records, your results, and start to put together the plan for 2022. Okay, I guarantee, what I can guarantee is that you will not regret that. You will not regret that at all. And if you're not sort of convinced by what I'm saying to you, well then you can listen from a true market wizard. Okay, Paul Tudor Jones. He's in the First Market Wizard book. He's probably my kind of professional trading hero. And I mean, he's a macro trader, and he talks about it, how it requires a high degree of skill, focus, and repetition. And actually talks about how life events such as birth, divorce, death of a loved one, and other emotional highs and lows are obstacles to success in this specific field of finance. And he's absolutely right there. Okay, when you reflect upon your year, you might have had all sorts of these experiences going on. Sometimes we think that we trade in a silo. Okay, that when we sit in front of our screens, that actually we're able to block out everything that has gone on in the rest of our lives at that moment, and we just focus on our trading. The reality is it's normally quite different. Okay, and actually what you'll find is that you will bring your baggage, all right, from your other areas of your life to your trading. Hence why it's important to review, okay, to recognize, were there particular life events that were happening at that time? Were you dealing with COVID? Were you locked down? Were you dealing with all sorts of, let's say, consequences of that, right? Because all of that will have had an impact upon your trading decisions. I assure you of that. And what we want to do is we want to learn that, you want to understand that, you want to see, where can I learn from this? What do I need to know? So in future, I don't make these simple, silly mistakes again. All right. Remember what we said earlier, you're good business, right? You want to cut out your mistakes. Okay. You want to sort of, remove as many of them as you can. You're always going to make mistakes. You're human. We all do. We all have the human condition, but working out and reducing that, all of these things help nudge the needle a little bit more in your direction. So here's your exercise. Here's your, what I'm calling holiday tasking. Okay. And this is all about business inventory. As the slide says there, ladies and gentlemen, all good businesses keep a close eye on managing their stock. And you might not have even thought of this, you might not even consider this, but in your trading business, it's your knowledge, your intellectual property. That is your stock, all right? That is your stock. And like any good business, it's important to do a stock check every year. Now, I appreciate that, that in the modern age where with, electronic point of sale, things have changed in terms of being able to do that. And most businesses will be able to do that electronically. But if you've ever worked in retail, or if you ever, like me, had a Saturday job when I was a teenager, okay, when I worked at B&Q, all right, the kind of hardware store on a Saturday, twice a year, in fact, we would have to go and do a stock check, okay, of everything that was in the store, every piece of asset and liabilities and such that we had there within the store. And what I'm suggesting is take these next couple of weeks, okay, to do that off your own trading business. Take the time to do it. You might think that actually there's nothing there. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, once you start to dig in, once you start to work with it, you'll start to realize exactly how much you've learned in this last year or since your last stock take. So here is an exercise for you. You might want to take a screenshot of this, ladies and gentlemen, or, if you're watching this later, you can do and go through it, okay, and find it. Here's your takeaway task for the holidays, okay, wherever you are in the world, however long you've been trading, doesn't really matter. It's a good exercise to do. Write down everything that you've learned about the 4 M's of trading this year, okay? Everything that you've learned about markets, about methods, about money, about myself, right? Write it all down, because actually once you do, you start to realize, hang on a minute, I've actually learned a lot here. I've come much further than I thought. When you're working at it day to day, you sometimes don't see that progress. What happens is you align your progress with the profit and loss of your trading account. That is not a good definition or a good example of your progress, okay? But once you start to write these things down, you start saying, hang on a minute, this is actually, I've learned so much. I've actually come a lot farther than I realized. Write down all the trading ideas which have resonated with you. I'm sure you'll have all done, your own experience, there's myself and Marcus and Jens, we put out an awful lot of content here with all sorts of trading ideas. And, I'm sure you've watched them. Some of them ideas you've thought, yeah, that resonates with me. I can see that. That's fantastic. Equally, there'll be trading ideas that you've resisted, you just don't like. You look at it and you think that just makes no sense to me. I can't understand how that will work, and write it down. Okay, write down the ideas that that resonate with you and the ideas that you resist. Okay, and also take another sheet of paper and write down what you believe you still have to learn about those 4 M's of trading: markets, method, money, and myself. What do you believe at the present are your areas of weakness? So there you go. Take that away and start to work on it. Okay, just maybe open a Word document. Maybe you get yourself a new a new few sheets of paper. Personally, I tend to do it by hand because I'm an old duffer these days, and actually I quite like the fact that when I write things down, it tends to stick in my brain. I find much better than when I'm just typing away on a computer screen. But whatever works for you, that's the important thing. Whatever works for you. Then once you've done that, the important thing is to review that list. All right, take the time to go through it. It might actually surprise you. As I said, once you start doing it and you do it properly and you commit to the exercise, you'll find that actually there's a whole lot more there than you might have recognized. By writing down what you are providing perspective and actually confidence. You've got perspective on all the things you've learned. And as I said, it'll give you just a little bit of confidence, a little boost to realize, actually, hang on a minute, I have actually learned a huge amount this year. I am actually making progress. I am going forward. By writing down what resonates with you, you may actually have the seed there of your next trading method, okay, of your next trading idea. Don't underestimate that, okay? As traders, we're always trying to find and develop our own trading method, right? We can learn from lots. You can learn lots from from Admirals videos. You can learn lots from the internet. You can learn lots from working with coaches, etc. But what it is about it's actually as you start to take all those ideas and then meld it into your own trading method. That's where the real next big leap in progress and equity curve tends to happen. By writing down what resonates with you, you might have that kind of idea that helps just take your trading business a step forward. By writing down what you do not like or what you are resisting, well, you give yourself an opportunity for reflection on why. Why is it that you don't like that trading idea? What is it? Is it because it's complicated? Is it because it just doesn't make sense to you? Is it because it seems like it's going to be a lot of hard work and you actually don't want to do the work, right? Be honest with yourself. You don't need to be honest with me, but you have to be honest with yourself. Just sit down and write, okay? And there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer at this stage. It is about actually just getting it out there and recognizing it, because that will actually help you, all right? Just take the time to just look down and see what you're resisting. And by writing down what you need to learn, well, then you have the start of your 2022 goals. All right. So there is kind of method in this madness, ladies and gentlemen. Doing this, it will take time, as I say, but it is worthwhile. Okay. It will help you. All right. It will help you make 2022 your best trading year ever. And that's what I want for you. And that's what I can speak for myself, but also I can speak for everybody here with Admirals as well. We want 2022 to be your best trading year. And, these sessions are what we hope goes towards contributing towards helping you to achieve that. So here's an example from a client of mine, Vic. Okay, trader Vic, and it's just the top line. Okay, a couple of the points. Otherwise, we'd be here for hours and such. But it's just a couple of points to say, how when trader Vic went through this exercise, what came up for him, and and how it actually plays out. And some of those thoughts might resonate with yourself. So trader Vic, in terms of markets, well, he realized from his results that his best performance for him was on his intraday trading. Also, focusing on trading the DAX in the morning and the NASDAQ in the afternoon, that was what worked best for him. Okay, so there were strengths there. Okay, intraday trading, DAX in the morning, NASDAQ in the afternoon. That was from going through his records, going through it, reflecting upon his numbers and starting to get a little bit clearer, a little bit clarity on what particularly was working well for him. In terms of his method, well, Vic liked trading the 3-bar reversal on the intraday DAX. That's what worked very well for him. But what he found also was that he struggled to trade crypto effectively. And that's not unusual. Some people are maybe better at investing in some asset classes rather than actively trying to trade them. In terms of money, well, he found that Vic was happier when he was only risking 0.5% per individual trade. So he basically had dialed down his particular risk. And he also realized that, he was comfortable when he had less than 6 positions, all right? And if he had more than 6 positions on, he'd start to get nervous, he'd get anxious, and he'd effectively, he'd make poor decisions. And in terms of managing himself, well, he found that, when he traded much better when he was focusing on trading for opportunity rather than for money. What does that actually mean? Well, that means that, Vic was in a position, he'd come to a place where, he was actually realized that when he sat down, he was trading for opportunity. He wasn't trading to chase the money. He wasn't trading to try and pay the rent on his apartment, okay? He was trading for opportunity rather than money. And when he took that focus away from actually trading for money, he tended to trade much better. He tended to actually operate much better as a trader in the markets. And he also realized that, he needed to avoid burnout, okay? That leads to over trading, all right? And sometimes over trading will lead to burnout, but if you are burnt out, how it can lead to over trading is that you become sloppy, all right? You become sloppy. You don't keep your records, you don't keep results. You're taking poor trades, okay? And maybe not risk managing it as properly as you should be, okay? Maybe you're just taking trades where you're just going through the motions rather than being active and engaged. So, he'd learned all this from doing this, from sitting down there, okay? And hopefully you can see, there's some great points in there, okay? And he actually wrote a good deal more. I'm just showing you some of the top line bullet points, okay, in order to give you a little bit of idea how it can help you or how you can actually particularly work on that. When he started to look at, strengths, weaknesses, areas of development and his goals for 2022, well, his strengths were that, he had good routines, which is excellent for trader. He was also very good at journaling. He was very committed to it. He found it useful. It helped him a great deal. And he was very good at it, and it basically helped him build his business. His weaknesses, he realized, was that, he gets impatient, okay, with slow trades that he'd put on, but weren't actually going, they weren't doing anything. They were just going sideways. And he realized he was getting impatient and anxious with that. He also realized that he was sometimes distracted by too much opportunity. There was, times in the markets when there was too much happening, and actually, he wanted to try and trade everything. But what he'd also learned was that, when he had more than 6 positions on, he would become nervous, he'd become anxious, he would make poor decisions. So, there was a fine line. There's a fine line there to work with there. In terms of areas for development for him, he needed to learn about fixed income markets. He felt that, he needed to learn about how bonds work, because those bonds markets, even though he might not trade them, they have huge impacts on other markets. And so he was using that as a way to increase his knowledge, okay, increase just his breadth of experience, okay, of different asset class markets, and to see how that could help him in his own particular trading. He also needed areas of development was that, he wanted to finesse his entries to help improve his reward to risk ratio on his trades, just by being able to sort of just, get a little bit smart, a little bit smart in terms of his entry, so that effectively, his trade risk was less, which meant that his reward to risk, had the opportunity to improve his reward to risk, which would have, of course, knock-on impacts. Remember what I was saying, earlier, you're trading business, okay, you're looking to increase your revenues, you're also looking to increase your profit margins. And his goals for 2022 were to just focus on 3 good trades per day in line with his trading rules, and focus on improving his trading metrics, which are solid starting goals for 2022. Okay, he's focusing on 3 good trades per day. Okay, good being that, he planned his trade, traded his plan, managed his risk. Okay, as I would have been battering into him, and then also focused just on improving his trading metrics. Okay, so he would know what his outcomes that he wanted, but he'd also know his performance metrics, and he would also understand the processes he had to do to follow that. And so improving some of those trading metrics, so things like improving his reward to risk, improving his hit ratio, okay, playing into his expectancy, focusing on things like just 3 good trades. Okay, all of those things play into improving his trading metrics. And by improving your trading metrics, you give yourself the opportunity to deliver better outcomes for yourself. So there you go. I hope that just gave you a little bit of insight into, just how one individual took that exercise we talked about, and how they utilize that to help them, identify, what they've learned and where they've come, and actually how they can develop going forward. In terms of conclusions, what we've got is, stock markets in 2022 have, or 2021 have provided traders and investors with a bit of a wild ride. For some markets this year will have provided threats. For others, they've provided opportunity. The question to ask is, which was it for you? All right, which one was it for you? With that in mind, how do we make 2022 our best trading year ever? Well, what we've just discussed is you start by reviewing your performance this year. All right, start by digging into it. If it's been a challenging year, don't turn away from it, turn towards it, embrace it. What have been your hardest lessons this year, ladies and gentlemen? And we will have all had them. What have been your biggest mistakes? And what have been your greatest successes? All of that plays into going through the business inventory exercise, that we've just talked about and covered. And all of that helps you start to build a plan to hit 2022 with aplomb and to make it your best trading year ever. So don't forget to join us next time, So at the same time on Wednesday, I'm going to be back here, talking about how to trade markets using the 4-hour charts. What is it that makes 4-hour charts special? What kind of setup does it favor? How to create a simple 4-hour trading plan. That is 2 p.m. London time, Wednesday, 22nd December. I think it's going to be our last webinar of the year. So it'd be great to have you all here to join us. You can check the inbox for your webinar link and you can take it from there. If you want to contact us, well, you can contact me at admiralmarkets.com, but you've also got the email global@admiralmarkets.com. Super, ladies and gentlemen. So what we have here is just remains for me to just finish off. Peter's just said there, thank you, Paul. Great session. I will be doing the review over the Christmas period. Have a nice Christmas. That's very good. I hope that is a wonderful exercise for you. And Nada said excellent practicals insight. That's fantastic. I appreciate that feedback. That's very, very kind of you. So as I said, hopefully that's just giving you a bit of insight. There's a little something that you can take away over the last couple of weeks of December, 2021. That will actually go through that exercise, review your performance and start to utilize that as your way and means to start to recognize your strengths, recognize your weaknesses, recognize areas for development, Start to put in place a few goals, a few metrics or a few objectives that will help you, power you towards making 2022 the best ever trading year for you, ladies and gentlemen. So with that in mind, it's been great for you to be here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your comments, James. Says thanks. That's very kind of you. Gert says thanks. It's great to have you here. Wonderful to be able to share this information with you. As always, I wish you the very best of success in your own trading, ladies and gentlemen. And I look forward to speaking to you on the next session, which, as I said, is Wednesday, 2 p.m. London time on trading with 4-hour charts, last session of the year. Until such time, trade well, everybody, and have a fabulous week. Cheers.